Hello, everybody! Welcome to another Quintessence Shoutcast. We are here in week 5 of season 6 of SCL, and tonight we have a match between two of the absolute titans of the Elite Division. Of course, Baywatch and Notorious Tempest. A very notorious roster. A very notorious game. So, I don't have updated standings, but the last I checked, Baywatch and Notorious Tempest are at the top of the division. I know for a fact that Tempest is at the top currently. Somebody with the actual up-to-date statistics can tell me that. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. But yeah, so I will be your sole caster for the evening. Platypus 11 was unfortunately killed in action, and she is currently waiting her reincarnation as the 12th platypus. So I'm kind of without a co-caster at the moment. But don't worry, we here at Twitch TV/Quintessence will make do with what we've got. I am waiting for faction selection for both teams. Am I good to stream? Sure am. Alright, factions have been chosen for games 1 and 2. And the lobby is up. We will get into there momentarily. Alright, the lobby has been loaded into, and we are waiting for both teams to give the signal that they are ready to begin. But in the meantime, yes, rest in peace to Platypus 11. May her 12th incarnation be long-lived and live a fruitful life. F's in the chat for Platypus 11. So, by all means, this should be an absolutely very interesting match. I was just involved in some scrims. Full disclosure, I was just involved in some scrims to help Notorious Tempest warm up before this match, and I can guarantee to you that they are revved up and ready to play some squadrons. I can only assume that Baywatch has been doing their own internal scrims and warm-ups. I would be very surprised if they went into this cold. You see, this is where I miss having a co-caster, because then at that point the weight isn't entirely upon me to carry the conversation and to fill in any dead air. But no, this is a one-woman operation this evening, and I am desperately buying time for players to fill into the lobby. For the curious, for game number 1, Notorious Tempest has chosen Empire, which anyone who's played this game for more than 10 minutes at a competitive level will know that if you are host, you pick Empire game number 1, unless if you are either deluded or just that cracked on New Republic, or maybe a little bit of both. Of course, we can have this conversation about host advantage and Empire's power level until the heat death of the universe, but it does not change the fact that this is the game that we got. For better and for worse. Amen. Again, we can have this conversation between now and the heat death of the universe. We can have all the Reddit debate threads that we want. You know, we can all dogpile the one weekly thread of Boost Gaspers killed the game. Ain't gonna change nothing. You are correct, Shed, and the Tide Bomber does go Bert. If the Y-Wing was able to go Bert with any sort of reliability, that'd be great, but that's not the world we live in. Although, I'll be entirely honest, just one caster's very naive opinion. What if you gave the Y-Wing Plasburst? Would it help anything? No. It'd probably make farming worse. But it would be something, right? I would assume so. Well, if the Y-Wing's dead drift was better, then Slam Rotary Y might be a better option. But as it stands, Rotary Y-Wing feels awful, and anyone who says they like it is either just bitten into the sunken cost fallacy, or they're just... really, it's just sunken cost fallacy. Oh, hey, it's Sub. Submo. One of the OG randos, hello. Imagine, if you will, an alternate universe in which the devs removed ghost blasting. Well, the thing is that this game, it's like asking the question, what if you removed wave dashing from Melee? It's such a fundamental part of how people play the game now that I literally cannot imagine what this game would be like without it. It is that fundamental to competitive level squadrons. Okay, Ion Plasburst is also something I've thought about. I think it would be hilarious. Honestly, if Squadron... Hot takes here on this official SCF affiliated broadcast. Opinions are of my own and not the SCF. But this game would be boring as shit without boost casping and all the drift mechanics. Really, just without the boost and drift. This would just be another Turnfest. If you want a Star Wars Flight Sim Turnfest, play X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Squadrons would be boring without all the unintended stuff. I said what I said. It's just it's Battlefront with extra bells and whistles. It's exactly... Not to say a Starfighter Assault is bad. I mean, honestly, actually, I think you could still probably get a match of Squadrons faster than you can get a lobby of Starfighter Assault in Battlefront 2. That's a truly dead game. Like, I mean, people are still playing, like, Supremacy and Galactic Assault, but no one's playing Starfighter Assault. Alright, here we go! Player issues have been resolved, and we are now loading into game number 1. Notorious Tempest versus Baywatch. That is not correct. That is correct. Unfortunately, I do not have Jambling enabled on this channel. I absolutely need to incorporate viewer rewards that make it worth gambling with Quinn Bucks. But that is a consideration for another day, as we are waiting in the lobby for game number 1. Here we have, on the side of Notorious Tempest, we have Had Jashiqua, Not Tom, El Brandon, and Ham. And facing off against them on the New Republic, brave souls, all of them. Shiny Oni-san, who I can only assume is Datenchi, Power Paladin, Fame Plane, Disco Dino, and Jesus, who... I do not recall who that is. I believe that is Boop. So many people change their names. It is very hard to keep track of them. Ah, yes. Thank you, Beach, for the correction. Jesus is, in fact, Boop, and I'm assuming Shiny Oni-san is Datenchi. don't worry. I've been meaning to incorporate gambling into this channel. I know that you guys are complete, like, vice-driven animals, and I need to feed into that. Number 1 is about to begin. Notorious Tempest versus Randos Baywatch, and we have begun. This is Star Wars Squadrons. If you're here, you're in the know. We all know what this means. This is the opening dogfight where both teams are going to be duking it out in the middle of the map to try and secure their very first offense. And of course, crucial to that will be the farm. Not Tom and El Brandon in position, locking their packs. Datenchi and Fameplane also doing the same. The very first bits of morale are starting to trickle in, currently in the favor of Notorious Tempest. Fameplane getting dunked. The pressure on the Y-Wings works, and we now have the Empire on the first offense. Ham, having just used marks and taking a bonk, will not be able to mark the cruisers to begin this offense. So, El Brandon and Not Tom are going to have to do the rotary bursts without the shield strip, and Jashikwa and Hod, for the time being, are going to have to rely on their lasers and their ions to strip this cruiser. Marks have been, looks like marks are out, and Ham is playing very, very risky with a low-hull TIE Reaper just hanging around the edge of the battlefield, waiting to give their teammates those eagerly needed and eagerly awaited resupplies. And there's one for El Brandon. El Brandon and Not Tom absolutely going to town on this Nebulon B. It's already at half, and with the morale they have remaining, they can easily force an out-of-phase out of this. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And on the side of Baywatch, we have Fameplane and Datenchi doing their absolute best, both of them, to secure that farm. Alpha is now at the point of being out-of-phaseable, and with the little bit of morale they have left on this offense, they're getting some damage in on the shields of Charlie. Charlie at less than a quarter shields. This is an excellent beginning offense for Notorious Tempest. Getting a 1 out-of-phase and shield stripped on another cruiser, that is a lot of work they have saved themselves for their next offense. And they still have time to get a little bit of extra damage. It looks like that Baywatch might be struggling to get a little bit of PK, struggling to get a little bit of farm to flip the phase, but there it goes. One cruiser down, one naked and ready for the offense. Baywatch has work to do, and work they are doing. Shields are now down on Delta super early into the phase, and here we have Disco Dino doing the lovely Plasburst orbits. Shout out to Scribbler, shout out to Thanatos, shout out to Oreos, shout out to all my Plasburst homies out there. And of course on the burst, Laser X-Wing Power Paladin is doing torp runs. The damage is coming in for Baywatch, but Notorious Tempest is doing an excellent job at the farm here. It looks like the Baywatch may not be able to get much more than an out-of-phase. At this rate, they will absolutely get an out-of-phase here. So right now, it looks like Baywatch and Notorious Tempest will be trading tit for tat here, cruiser for cruiser. But one crucial advantage Notorious Tempest has managed to squeeze over Baywatch. They have the momentum. They have a Nebulon B already taking some damage and no shields. Depending on how fast they get their damage in with this marked Nebulon B, they could potentially push forward and get a shield gen on this MC-75. If they're able to do that, the Notorious Tempest is in an excellent position to take this game, but we will see how that plays out. It's entirely possible they could take it here. The morale looks excellent for them. There's the TIE bombers. There's those Burt orbits. You know them. You love them. What you know very much and don't love is the support pick. Ham being knocked out just before phase transition. they're not going to have the marks to insta-disable those shields, so it looks like they're opting to dunk one. One has been dunked, and they have the bombers on the other one for the kill. Even without a support, even without marks, that was a very clean run. One generator disabled, one destroyed, and it looks like they're going to be opting to take targeting before piecing out for the phase, which, while this is not a gutted dead fish, this is a fish primed and ready for the gutting. Excellent offense from Notorious Tempest. And while I was on that spiel, Hod was taken down. Another source of PK and picks down for Hod for the next 2 seconds. Baywatch has a lot of work to do. That MC75 is essentially gutted and crippled. They will not survive another offense. They need to pull off the offense of their careers to make it through to this game, and Jesus getting disabled and about to get picked off, not doing them any favors. Down they go. And of course, once again, Disco Dino with the beautiful, sexy Plasburst orbits. I could watch this all day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know about you. The flexes, the OBJs, everybody on Baywatch is doing their best to get damage in on this cruiser. But with the morale at where it is right now, they're not going to be able to really do much on the Star Destroyer. Their best bet is to just let the phase flip, get the out of phase, and just farm their asses off. That is the only way they get out here. And here we see Power Paladin already trying to box out Ham, get a pick on him. Because of course we want to make sure the TIE Reaper does not get in and get marks. But unfortunately, Raider was still up. The cruiser goes down, and the phase ends just like that. It is now time for Notorious Hod. I hate to say it, folks, but this looks like it's going to be a victory lap for Notorious Hod. Don't even need to bother with that shield generator. Just brute force those shields down and go to town on this naked MC75. Targeting has gone down. Power is likely soon to follow, and those breaches will open up. And just like that, no, power is still up, but at this point, I don't think Notorious Tempest needs the breaches. They can just go to town on the MC and rip it apart with their bare hands, but power goes down nonetheless. The MC75 is only seconds away from falling, and game number 1 is firmly in the hands of Notorious Tempest.
So much for the new republic. All pilots return to the ship.
Excellent, dominating performance from Notorious Tempest, taking the Empire win. Game number 1. Allow me to update that score, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else there is to say about that. That was just a very solid Empire game for Notorious Tempest. And we all know, even in this day and age, even with the era of SCL modifiers, if you can get that ball rolling on Empire, that momentum carries and just snowballs so much harder than New Republic. If you're on New Republic and the Empire is just steamrolling your cruisers, there's really not much you can do. Oh my goodness, I forgot to look at the score screen. Rest assured, just imagine like 80k on the TIE bombers. You got something around that ballpark? I don't know. This is why I like having a co-caster, because it makes things so much more organized, because I forget a lot of things. Alright, so we are now waiting for the lobby to go up for game number 2. And I will check. Baywatch will be the host for game number 2. And they have elected to play as Galactic Empire, which, again, Not terribly surprising to anyone who's played competitive squadrons for anything longer than 10-20 minutes. I promise you, Zero Fox, I will make sure I actually display the score screen at the end of this game. So we've seen what Notorious Tempest can do on the Empire. But as we all know, the Randalorians Baywatch are absolutely not slouches themselves. I expect them to bring their A game here for game number 2, and I expect them to have a dominating performance on Empire. Sure would be spicy for a game 3. All right, we are still waiting on the creation of the next lobby. By the way, thank you everyone who's been following thus far. All right, so some things that I noticed during game number 1. It seems that Empire. It seems that New Republic seems to have a harder time in the open than Empire on Galatan. Normally, I would say in a map like Galatan, with the way the AI pack up and fly, that New Republic would have the easier time because TIE fighters generally don't break up and go in weird directions like X-wings tend to do. But with the way that that Empire can pressure and easily split, like the flexes can easily split one Y-wing apiece, and if you can put that pressure on a Y-wing on Galatan, there's basically nothing that they can do. It's either you evade the defender on your tail, or you get dunked into a rock and die. It's very, very rough for Y-wings on the Galatan Open. Absolutely. It's better on the defense phases, but generally speaking, you're not going to get PK'd as hard as a Y-wing on defense outside of the open. All right. Lobby is up. You're going to be joining this match right now. And I'm going to make sure to join as a spectator. We're going to avoid the classic caster's mistake. Also, Fame is correct. Cavern Angels Blue versus Savrup Squadron will be this weekend. I will not be shoutcasting that match because I will be in it. All right, the caster has entered the lobby, and we have immediately jumped into the pregame for game number 2. Alrighty, here we are. Randalorians Baywatch here with a different roster than last game. We have Beach, former CAG player Eladrin, with Nop Datenchi and Disco Dino. And it appears that there is a slight switch up in Hod's roster this game as well. We do have, for Notorious Tempest, not Hod, Notorious Tempest, we have Not Tom, Jashikwa, El Brandon is back in there again. We also have Da Burst and Ham. Very interesting that we have 3 former Cavern Angels goal players in this match. We got ourselves some CAG on CAG violence here, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely spicy. Honestly, just the rosters on both teams are just it's Squadron's history in here. Just so many people from so many different storied and well-known teams. Brings a tear to the eye, you know. This scene's been around for so long, we've gotten so far. That's just me being sappy and sentimental. Loading into game number 2! Loading in once again into Galatan. Game number 2! Will Baywatch take a game off of Tempest with the Empire split, or is Notorious Tempest going to come out with the game number 2 NR win? Let's find out, shall we? And here they are, the Y-Wings and the TIE Bombers plunging into certain death to get those AIs, to get the morale for their team. And of course, the supports are going to be in here jockeying for position, trying their best to balance the responsibilities of keeping their teammates alive while keeping themselves alive. Nop gets the marks off. So does Ham. And we already have a conversion shield pop. El Brandon gets dunked by one of the PKs for Baywatch. Right now, morale is currently in favor of Notorious Tempest, but as we all know, the morale bar is always in a state of constant flux in this opener. You need to keep up that farm. You need to keep up those PK picks to get the morale in your favor, and it is nearly dead even with 1 minute remaining in the dogfight. Ah, yes, very interesting. Double standard tie on the side of Baywatch. We'll have to wait another phase to see how that works, because Notorious Tempest have come out on top in the open. And here they go. Ions being applied to Frigate Charlie. Marks are off on players for Baywatch, and the race is on. Baywatch needs to get that farm. Baywatch needs to prevent that damage. Shields are now down on Charlie with just over half morale remaining in the phase. Excellent morale income thus far from Baywatch. Can it come in fast enough to prevent an out of phase from Notorious Tempest? We'll see. Oh my goodness, it looks like Baywatch may be able to prevent an out of phase from Notorious Tempest. Just one more AI will do it. And there we go. The phase has been flipped. The flexes are falling back, but it does look like they did manage to just barely get an out of phase. The burst is staying behind to claim it. One less flex there for player picks. And here we go. The double TIE Fighters coming in with the Ion Torps. Shields on both frigates already almost completely stripped. And Charlie is getting ripped into by the TIE Bombers. Unfortunately, Eladrin does get picked, which means the Tenchi is now the only bomber left doing the orbits. But look at that damage coming in from Baywatch. Of course, Notorious Tempest doing a very good job of returning the favor and bringing in that farm. Farm isn't always the best on Galatan. Packs can get very wonky at times. Anyone who's farmed any amount of time on this map will tell you. Any farmer who's played this map can commiserate. Alright, and it looks like the phase is about to end. Baywatch will have one cruiser firmly out of phaseable, and the other stripped of shields for the next phase. Alright, here we go. Ham taking a moment to resupply under Frigate to make sure they have the full 6 resupplies, while the flexes and the OBJs of Notorious Tempest are in. Shields on Delta are down, and now it is time to lay in the damage. Now, here we go. This is the game. This is the game of, will they be able to burn this fast enough to get a gen on the Star Destroyer, or will this just be burning it down and saving for the out of phase? And it looks like it's going to be the latter. Morale coming in very quickly here on the side of Baywatch once again. The burst taking a moment to throw ions at one of the farmers on Baywatch before returning to the offense. We're at a state of half morale. Raider is still up, and Delta is about to fall. It looks like Notorious Tempest is going to take this opportunity to get something done on the Star Destroyer. Jashikwa is already pre-positioning, but it looks like perhaps they might be changing their mind. This is a very delicate situation here, and it looks like Notorious Tempest is able to fall back and get the out of phase. Alright, here we go. It's time for Baywatch to bring in that damage, but unfortunately, damage is something Eldred can't bring when they're at low hull and being chased by the burst. A resupply from Knock will get that situation all sorted, and it is Burt time once again. Just under half morale, Delta just under half. Raider is still up. It looks like Baywatch may be forced to be will be in the same situation that Notorious Tempest was in the last phase. The phase is about to flip. Raider is still up. Delta is low. Now, the question is the Raider alive long enough to take this cruiser and force the phase transition? No, it is not. A tactical suicide from Beach will flip the phase, and now it is time for Notorious Tempest to assault the Star Destroyer. Out of phase has been claimed, putting a little bit of a dent in their offensive morale, and here's the moment of truth. Can Ham get in and get marks? The marks absolutely crucial for their offense. Marks are off on the Star Destroyer, and now the flexes are in. Both shields have been disabled. The ISD is wide open for the pickings. Power has been popped. Turrets on the neck are being stripped. Notorious Tempest doing a textbook Star Destroyer takedown. The damage is just coming in. Baywatch needs to get the farm in, needs to get the picks in. Raider is also still available as a source of morale, but Notorious Tempest is just pouring in the damage. I don't think Baywatch is going to be able to get a flip in time. Even if they do, this Star Destroyer is now firmly out of phaseable. I hate to say it, folks, but it looks like game number 2 and the series is ending right here and right now. Star Destroyer falls, and the series goes to Notorious Tempest. And there it goes.
That's another victory for the New Republic.
A solid performance from Notorious Tempest, taking this series 2-0. And let's take a look at the scorecards. Not Tom and El Brandon doing their best on the farm. We got from the double flexes here about 70k. The torque trucks coming in clutch. And the double flexes doing a respectable amount of damage. Eldrin not doing as much damage as I'm sure that they would have liked. But the PK pressure on them was very strong at points, keeping them off the Burt runs. But very solid farm on the side of Baywatch. But of course, Notorious Tempest played just that much better, and the series is theirs. All right, that was a very, very solid display of Star Wars Squadrons, if I do say so myself. Let me see. Let me see if there will be anyone for interviews. I am not the best solo interviewer, but we will make this work. All right, it looks like we will be getting an interview from at least one person from Baywatch. We will see. All right, and here we have the one, the only Fame Plane, repping
Oakland.
Randalorian's Baywatch.
Hello.
And we also have Eladrin. All right, very nice to see you both. Obviously, unfortunately, you weren't able to take a game off of Notorious Tempest, but not for lack of trying. You guys put up a very formidable effort. And I'd like to ask, what were your thoughts going in? Because we all know that Notorious Tempest is a matchup that many teams probably dread.
I mean, it's a great opportunity to test where we are in terms of because they like you said, they have wonderful pilots and they execute the game plan flawlessly. So any mishap or pilot error or any carelessness, they're going to make you pay, and that mistake's going to be amplified, which is exactly what they did. I mean, you got to tip your hat off to them. They played a wonderful game. We did all right, but they're just the better team today, and kudos to them.
Yeah, and we also went in with the mindset of like, it's going to be 2-0, either towards us or towards them. Because if we win against them as in our, we can probably there's a chance for Empire. Or it's going to be the exact opposite of which is what happened. So we tried to do plan C, take it to game 3, and that didn't happen. Like Anakin, I don't like big sand or rocks.
What
I hit
is
one on attack.
what is sand but very, very tiny rocks?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's literally what it is.
Yeah,
Very true.
it gets everywhere.
All right, and this is news to me, Eladrin. So it seems like you were a recent addition to the roster of Baywatch.
Yeah, I'm just helping out, kind of just re-getting into things because I took a long break after the last Cow Cup back in October, almost like a year ago.
Oh God, it has been almost a
So
year.
yeah, so like they hit me up like if I wanted to cover last week's game, and like keep in mind I had opened the game like maybe 7 times or less in the past year, pretty much. And I'm like, you know what, I got you. And just basically just been having them shoot at me and me evade and just kind of get in the grips of everything. And I'm not quite where I was at the end of Cow Cup. There's still a bit of rust in there.
Well, I mean, with a game like
honestly,
Squadrons, even a week off, it acquires a lot of rust. So I can only imagine, nearly a year.
Yeah.
Don't let his humility fool you. Within like the first hour, you could tell right away. There's a reason he was CAG and one of the top bombers in the game, and I still think he is. He's just playing the cool card, which he does very well. And we're happy to have him rostered for the season.
Hey, I'm a
Well,
cool kid.
Eladrin, you played very well, despite despite of the substantial pressure that was on you. Especially, I saw game 2. It seemed like Notorious Tempest basically had your number.
Well, that's because I used to fly with them. Like, there's, it's it's just kind of the thing, shoot at me because they know me, which is fine, no big deal. But I mean, it wasn't that bad as far of it was because I decided to shoot at Ralph at one point, and I'm pretty sure he called me out and whatnot. I was just like, okay, I'll go back to farming. I'm back at my place. I see.
As I was saying before the match started, we got to witness some CAG on CAG violence.
Yeah.
What is Squadrons but an excuse to shoot lasers at your friends?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. That's what I think.
No hard feelings.
Lasers and also the occasional Golo.
Hey, never underestimate it.
I mean, Golo kills, or I cherish every single Golo kill I get, intentional or otherwise.
Oh, yeah. The best ones are the dumbfire ones.
The best ones are the accidental
yes.
dumbfire ones.
Yes.
The ones where you're trying to clear turrets and then there's a defender that happened to get caught. You're like, oh.
This a defender, or if this is ladder, an interceptor that gets a little too
Oh,
close.
yeah.
Okay. Quinn, I don't want to keep you waiting, but I do have one favor to ask. Can you ask me, what do you call a pirate droid?
We're really gonna do this on the broadcast?
Yes, we are. We really are. Yes.
What do you call a
Admin.
pirate droid?
R2D2. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
God fucking damn it. All right, so we have an interview lined up from Notorious Tempest. All right, we have the one and only El Brandon, the artist formerly known as Rod, representing Notorious Tempest. First of all, congratulations on the very strong 2-0 win over Baywatch. I'll ask you the same question I asked Baywatch. So what were your thoughts going into this matchup, considering that, as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, this is like a clash of undisputedly the titans of Elite Division.
Yeah, Baywatch has been the most SCL champions, I believe. But they also have a lot of different players they play, so we didn't know what they would bring out. But we wanted to just make sure we brought out the best that we could, given our availability and stuff. And yeah, we just played our game and it went well.
All right. So I noticed in game number 2, Baywatch decided to pull out the double standard tie for the flex. No defender in their flex lineup.
Right.
When did you notice that, if at all? And did that affect the plans at all? Considering that standard ties are so vulnerable to chip
we
damage.
expected them to do that. One, I know Disco likes TIE Fighter. I know Beach does too. And I thought maybe Speed of Light would play. He also likes TIE Fighter. So I expected them to run double tie. We also have, on their match against Aluminium, we scrimmed them, or I did. It was like a mix of players. So I knew, they like 2 TIE Fighter. Of course, watching them play games during the season as well. So that wasn't a surprise. I expected that.
All right. And then I also, this was news to me. I did not know that Eladrin was a new addition to the Baywatch roster.
Yeah.
Were you guys expecting him at all?
I didn't know if he would play, but I knew he was on their roster. And again, some scrims, I've played with Eladrin playing with them, so I knew he, might play with them.
All right. Well, your flexes did an excellent job at boxing him out. I think the most times that I was spectating Eladrin, somebody was on him, and it definitely, especially in the Empire game, it reflected on his capship damage score. So I'd have to say that your flexes did an excellent job in preventing that source of damage.
Yeah, that's good for them. I didn't. Obviously, I couldn't watch them do it because I was playing, but I saw that his damage was low, so it's good to hear our flexes are doing good out there.
It is difficult to show everybody doing their thing while also shoutcasting at the same time, but I think I did a decent job at showing everybody at some good moments.
Oh, cool. I'll be sure to watch the stream again.
All right. Well, Rod, thank you very much for coming in for the interview, and once again, congratulations to Notorious Tempest for the 2-0 victory. That believe that still makes you very firmly in first place in the division?
I want to say we've clinched it now, but I'm not certain. But anyways, yeah, we're happy with our position. And I just wanted to say thanks for casting Quinn. We appreciate it.
Oh, of course, it's my pleasure. I love doing this.
Alrighty, I'll see you later.
Alrighty, have a good one, Rod. All right, and there we go. This is the moment where I would transition to a updated standings board, but I don't have. I still don't have a standings thing prepared and ready to go for this stream. But I will go. I mean, I'll believe Rod. It does sound like Notorious Tempest. If they haven't clinched first place, then they're basically there. We can all safely assume that Notorious Tempest is going to be first place. Possibly, maybe, likely. As for who could be second, third, and fourth, of course, there are still many teams with many games to play, so that is in a state of flux. In fact, the state of the top four is more in flux this season I think than any other season of SCL, which I think is pretty great. I don't know about you guys. This season is gonna get pretty crazy towards the end, and I am 100% here for it. Well, this is also normally the time where I would continue to play squadrons. No, I don't want that. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to reconvene with my fellow Savrips. And I'm going to send you guys over to my fellow Savrip, Lauren. All right. Thank you, everybody who followed during the cast, and thanks for watching. I appreciate every last one of you. And I will see you next time. Send Lauren your love.